Yes, economic liberalization happened a bit in many of these countries. I grew up in India. I saw economic liberalization happen. They pulled back maybe 10 regulations, and the next day they imposed 100 more regulations on the society. So when they say economic liberalization happened in those countries, it's a complete myth, ladies and gentlemen. It has no reality. Now, democracy. Yes, this stupid concept of democracy has spread around the world, in Africa, in the Middle East. And don't you know what democracy is doing to Europe today? A lot of people were very euphoric about what was happening with Arab Spring. And Arab Spring continues in Syria and Iraq and Libya, and they are knocking your door already. So that's what democracy means. Democracy, the problem is that all these nice concepts that developed in the West, because of the concept of reason, once you implant them on irrational societies, they mutate to adapt to accommodate the underlying irrationalities of those societies. What you think human rights, women's rights, or democracy means is not what those people understand as democracy. What is democracy in the minds of Middle Eastern people, Africans, other Asians? Something for nothing. That's how democracy has been marketed to them. And when they conceptualize democracy, for them it's something for nothing. Even in Hong Kong, which is an extremely awakened country in my view, the concept of democracy, the kids just want free stuff. So now the question that must linger on in your mind is, why did the rest grow so fast? And there's only one response I have to that. Internet. Telephony became extremely cheap in the late 80s. Internet came into existence in the early 90s, and internet set up pipelines for massive transfer of technology from the West to the rest. The rest was able to copy technology from the West. They were able to pluck the fruit which were a result of Western creativity. It is the only reason why this synchronous growth happened in these emerging markets. But unfortunately, they never got the concept of reason. I see that again and again. In fact, and I hope I turn out to be wrong, my view is that they have been disincentivized from learning the concept of thinking, reasoning, critical thinking, argumentation. Why? Because they became too rich too quickly without the underlying concept of reason. Now, these emerging markets, the rest is now mostly stagnating because they have plucked the low-hanging fruit that became available to them because of internet. The reason why they are stagnating. Now, I forgot to address one more issue, and that's about public education. Public education has spread around the world. I'm sure a lot of you go to Africa and South Asia. Have you seen girls in uniform carrying pots of water, or adults carrying heavy weight on their head? And did you admire them for their physical courage and how it's good for their spine? Ladies and gentlemen, if you admired them, you don't really travel properly. The reason you see schoolgirls carrying pots of water on their head is because the concept of wheel hasn't really left any imprint in their brains. They have gone through formal education, but they haven't really understood the concept of the wheel. The public education as it stands today in most of the rest is a disaster. It's another set of belief, faith, dogma in their brains. Because they never learned the concept of reason, which should underlie the concept of education. So in my view, the rest, apart from, of course, better economics, economies are worse off today than they were before all this started. Okay, so this is my view about the view on what's happening in the world.